Public relations is a field of study and a career path that serves as the filter between a person or entity and its publics. Public relations practitioners, or PR teams, manage various modes of communication to attempt to present a particular image to stakeholders. It's like putting on a face for the public. I'm going to be using this term stakeholders a bunch, so here's what I mean by it. Stakeholders are any person or group who cares about what a company does. So, customers, employees, journalists, and shareholders are all considered to be stakeholders. So, PR teams manipulate public perception for better or worse. For example, social media managers do PR work by default because they decide what will be posted on a company's Facebook wall or Twitter feed, and they censor comments or threads when the social media managers decide they are not in line with the company's values. Every business or person in the public eye has public relations practices, whether or not they have a dedicated PR team. For anyone who cares what kind of face they put on for the public, it matters to consider which approaches they take with public relations. Public relations has three main components that I will be focusing on, and these are the following: reputation management, interactivity, and crisis communication in terms of reactive communication. This is not an exhaustive list for the whole field of PR, but it'll be a good place to start for now. Reputation management is the process of showing stakeholders what a person or company values. Examples include outstanding customer service, a commitment to social justice, or being on the cutting edge of innovation. PR teams will attempt to exemplify a company's values in the communications that they release to their company's stakeholders. So remember that a company's reputation is what you think of when you think of that company. Shared values are key to reputation management. These values don't always have to be universal, like a Catholic Church's reputation management strategy could be rooted in religious faith, but the presentation of these values should be consistent. The next main component of public relations is interactivity. Communication can be one way, so that a message is sent to someone, but that someone has no ability to reply to that message. Think flyers on a bulletin board or a TV commercial. Because of the direction communication is taking, however, stakeholders increasingly have the ability to talk back. Interactivity occurs often online and when you call customer service. Each company representative has the potential to impact a stakeholder's perception of the company. The words of a CEO at a press release may carry more weight for some people in terms of a company's values, but no good is done by undervaluing the potential of strong customer service. For public relations, an interactive component makes communication more difficult. Flyers, brochures, and TV commercials can all be carefully curated, but live interactions on official channels open one up to questions they may not be prepared for. The immediacy of interactivity in company communication can nevertheless be valuable as crises unfold. Which takes me to crisis communication, or the reactive communication employed in times of a crisis. This is when disasters happen, and while there can be steps taken to anticipate and plan for crises, nevertheless, the management of crises always happens during or after they occur. When disaster happens, stakeholders want answers and they want to know what a company will do in terms of accountability. PR teams decide the approach a company will take in the wake of a crisis and they create this message as quickly as possible to present a united front to these stakeholders to explain what happened and what's next. So let's take a step back. What does this all mean? Why does it matter? Who cares? You can think of it like this: if you want something from people, then you must consider how you interact with them. The public and your stakeholders can be very unforgiving if you slip up. Getting canceled is a bit of a buzzword, but it is a consequence of a failing of public relations efforts. Maybe someone said or did something impulsively. The CEO of Chick-fil-A publicly expressed disapproval for same-sex marriage in 2012, and for many, that message would have been enough to get the company canceled. In fact, Chick-fil-A has been canceled for some remaining boycotters, but part of Chick-fil-A's saving grace was its firmly established reputation, its outstanding customer service, and its well-loved menu options. So its PR team didn't even have to work too hard to manage the fallout when the CEO spoke out against marriage equality. Really, bad press happens too often for a company to not be ready for it to some degree. A dedicated PR team can build up their company in the court of public opinion, and they can show stakeholders why they're worth being loyal to. Brand loyalty also has the compounding effect of converting customers into brand ambassadors. Public relations practitioners demonstrate that they are dedicated to promoting company values. They may head press conferences, manage social media, release company statements, keep up with trending news, and compile data to measure public opinion. These various PR functions are all in the name of improving how a company is perceived by its stakeholders. Like I've mentioned, PR is relevant for individuals as well as companies. A celebrity or influencer wouldn't want their fans to think poorly of them, and therefore it's beneficial to them as well as larger companies to consider how they approach their interactions with those individuals whose opinions of them matter to them. Success can be created in public relations when one has the ability to account for a variety of perspectives. After all, stakeholders will interpret a company's every action differently according to their own values and beliefs, and being able to take decisive, empathetic action that is in line with a company's values is at the heart of PR. Those in the public relations profession don't always have an education in the field, but the study of PR can be valuable for developing strategies for creating a better image a company presents of itself to its stakeholders. The greater quality the effort that is devoted to this image, the more stakeholders would be inclined to believe in a company.